Hello! Hello, everyone! I can't help listening to my music a little bit. There we go. Hi, everyone! I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome finally to the October ChemKnits Dialogue live stream. I am so sorry for any of you who came last night to find that I had postponed the stream until tonight, but I really appreciate, as I go blurry, your patience and understanding, and I'm very excited to dye up some spooky jack-o'-lantern yarn. So I'm very excited. Hello, hello! I'm very, very excited today, even though the light right now is making my hair look brown, which I am a redhead. I might be really excited. Lately, I haven't had very much time to dye yarn outside of Hanukkah, but I finished that up, I forget, a couple weeks ago maybe, and then I've been packing and shipping. So that has been what I've been working on lately. But anyway, I should give my official introduction. But anyway, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome to the October 2021 ChemKnits Dialogue live stream. This is actually sort of a birthday for the stream, since October was the very first one we did, I don't know how many years ago. A couple of years ago. The first one was in October. And there's some other milestones right now that I'll talk about in a moment. But tonight, as I mentioned, we are going to dye some yarn inspired by this spooky Halloween image right here. We've got blacks, browns, orange, and there's white, which I may or may not do. We did resist last time. I may not go for the whites in this image specifically. Excuse me. But there's also some smoky blue, and I'm excited to see what I can do with that. I think we'll probably start with the orange and black, which will also give us some really lovely browns, and then see what we want to do with the blue from there. So that's pretty much my plan. But this is not just a challenge for me, it's a challenge for all of you as well. And I'm inviting all of you to dye along with me at home over the next few weeks. And I will feature as much of your yarn as I can in the live stream recap that I will share in mid-November. So if you would like your yarn to be featured, just share pictures of your yarn on Instagram using the hashtag ChemKnitsDialogue. Or there is this inspiration photo on the ChemKnits Facebook page. You can reply to that with a photo comment, and that's where I draw the submissions from for the recap. Now, I recently had a question about the deadline for the recap, and the deadline is fairly flexible. I stop accepting submissions as soon as I export the recap, live stream recap, which I'm moving too much. Which I typically try to share the live stream recap sometime between the 12th and 18th of the next month. So I would say that if you try to get your submissions in by the 12th, so for the October one by November 12th, for the November one by December 12th, etc., that is a safe bet to get it in time. However, you are welcome to go and play around with previous dialogue inspiration photos and continue to share those with me. Just if you're working from a previous month, please make sure you include the month that you were inspired by in your caption, because that makes it a little bit easier for me to tell. Because sometimes I can tell from the colors that I'm like, okay, this was clearly watermelon, this is not jack-o'-lantern. But occasionally people dye things that are, you look at and you see the photo immediately, and sometimes people dye things that turn out maybe not quite as close of a match, and that's okay. Because all this whole dye-along process is for is to challenge ourselves color-wise, to challenge ourselves to maybe try different techniques or different kinds of colorways outside of, for me, like a purple and teal kind of family, which I do go back to all the time. But I found it to be really useful for me to play around with different color combinations and feel more confident taking some color risks. But now I need to make sure I can see the chat. Oh, you couldn't join last night, so it works out perfectly for you? Oh, awesome. Awesome. Oh yeah, yesterday I was just exhausted, and to be honest, I just wasn't really up for streaming. Hello, Indy. What do you want? Why don't you go find Daddy? Can you go upstairs? You go to the 3rd floor. Go all the way up. All right, so I have a plan, as I mentioned, for the yarn tonight. I want to do some sort of space dyeing with black and orange, let the dyes sort of spread and blend together a bit. And then we'll see if there's any lighter patches left, and then I'll think about adding potentially some blue in there. And so that's the plan for the first round. If that does not work the way I think, you know, I'm debating. Maybe I will start with twisted. No, I'm going to do the way I thought the first time, and then depending on how that works, then I might try twisted skeins and doing, say, first some blue and then going over that with some orange and then going over that with some black. I think that that could be a really fun way to try to do it as well, which would also potentially leave some white behind. But I want to try one. I have sort of like a vision in my head that something about the way the blue of the smoke sort of curls is making me think about the way that dye sort of diffuses into water when you pour some concentrated dye in one hand and watch it kind of move through, which sometimes I might help it with my hands as well. I might help move it. But I like to try to take some inspiration for the type of colorway I'm going to do from the image as well. That's something I really, really enjoy. Yeah, and I think that this is maybe the first official Halloween dye-along inspiration photo. The last few Octobers, I've typically picked... Hey, Indy. Let me get your daddy. Hey, honey, can you call?
Doesn't he go outside?
I don't know, maybe, but can you let him out and then?
Yeah.
Thank you, sweet. Yeah, this might be the first official Halloween one. But we were talking about, I was mentioning milestones. So it's actually, this week is Dye Pot Weekly's birthday. 4 years ago in September, I believe it was September 18th, I launched a Kickstarter to do 35 episodes of Dye Pot Weekly. And I believe I just scheduled episode 325 4 years later. So I want to thank you all so much for continuing to support my yarn dyeing adventures. Hundreds and hundreds of videos in, I still feel like I have a lot to learn, and I'm excited to learn and share and grow all together. And let's see, announcement-wise, all right, I have, I think, not very many left. So of the ChemKnits Hanukkah bonus games, I still have a few, or I still have more than a few. I really upped the number of Hanukkah samplers that I made this year. The Hanukkah samplers are sets of 100 grams of yarn that come in mini skeins, 8 10-gram mini skeins, and this year 1 20-gram mini skein that are wrapped up and labeled so you can unwrap one every night of Hanukkah while watching a new yarn dyeing video. It is so much fun, and I'm really excited for, I've been shipping, the last 2 weeks I've been shipping the samplers out, and so I'm really excited for people to see it. And there are some full skein add-ons that are, I have no idea if my mouse is showing up on camera. Yes, it is, okay. I have a few full skein add-ons left, not very many. And so if you've already purchased a sampler, you can order the add-on on its own, but otherwise you should order it along with the sampler. And yeah, I will be shipping the third wave starting this weekend, I believe, because I already got the second wave out. And also the shop has hundreds of other skeins of hand-dyed yarn. I just searched for right here. If you search for ChemKnits Dye-Along, you can find yarn that I've done in past of these live streams. And so it's fun to see like the different kinds of colorways we've done over the years. Oh, I love the flamingo yarn. That's one of my favorites. I also really like this colorway. This was a Leave No Dye Behind from Blue Jay. That's another one of my favorites. But anyway, yeah, so you can find a link to my shop. I have links, a lot of links down in the video description, but I also should have a Hanukkah link in the pinned comment in the chat. Hello. Okay, now let's see. So I have, hi peeps. Okay, so I have two cameras. So we've got the countertop set up, we have the stove set up, and oh, I need to set up my monitor. Nope. I was like, I knew I was forgetting something. Oh dear. My monitor, aka my kid's iPad. And so then I will use this, and I'm going to make sure the volume, nope, is not all the way on. The volume is off. Oh. So that way, oh no, I want YouTube. That way I can make sure that I can see when things don't work. Awesome. And yeah, please, while I'm finishing getting set up, please make sure that you are subscribed and turn on notifications. Or as my children like to say, because they said this tonight, smash that subscribe button, but don't actually smash your devices. I think that they have no idea what that means. Like, I don't think they have a big concept of what a button, like, on a website means. But now they say that every time because of, I think, like, a joke their dad made once. So they were filming some conclusions for a video that should be out maybe not next week, maybe the week after. All right. Actually, let's go to single camera. So I have some colors pulled. Oop, I want to make sure that I can see all of the chat. I'm a bit blurry. Yeah, unfortunately, Carol, unfortunately, the face cam, if I move at all, it just like really sends the focus into overdrive, which is annoying, which is really annoying. I want to make sure that I can see, and actually while I'm over here, let's go ahead and check. There's a bit of a delay, so I should be able to see that in a moment, even though I went to the 2-camera one instead of the single camera. There we go. Yeah, so the blurry, yay, it's working right now. And Laura, welcome to your first dye-along. Okay, so let's see. The colors that I plan to play with today include blazing orange. I just made up a dye stock of this earlier today, and I have some leftovers of that. I also did frozen for the blue. The tone of it is fairly spot on to that picture. But I do also have some indigo blue in case I want something a little bit softer, and it's very, very pigmented. So I could use this for some mixing. And then, of course, I have true black, and I have a feeling that the black and orange are going to do what I want them to do, but it's possible we'll end up with a version that does not have blue. But I am excited to try with the blue. Oh, Carol, I appreciate you guys letting me know when things are blurry or when the sound's off. That is super, super helpful. You all are my lifeline and tech support. I have a few other colors here that I don't think I'll need, but I have some other like yellows, a lot of yellows, and browns, and so we may end up going and doing some leave no dye behind. I'm just going to see where we want to go as we do this. I actually also have some leftover dyes mixed with citric acid powder in, I think, True Black, maybe Blazing Orange, and then a green. And so that doesn't quite go with the photo, but it still is very like fall and Halloween type combo. So we may also use that up later tonight because yeah, those are leftovers from the sweaters quantity of yarn video. There's the one, Saffron Spice is a fabulous orange. It's a fabulous orange. I'm starting with a brighter orange. So Blazing Orange, ooh, do I have this? Hold on. Okay, so unfortunately, okay, so that's Saffron Spice, which is a very good pumpkin orange. It is a little bit muted already, and unfortunately, this color swatch card, which I can't tell. Yes, okay, they're both on camera right now. Unfortunately, this color swatch card doesn't have similar colors next to each other. So the Blazing Orange, I think, is a little bit brighter than Saffron Spice. I haven't swatched all my oranges, so I don't know for sure. But given that we're going to be having that black coming in as well, that should bring our orange down to something that is more Saffron Spice. And I think if we started with the Saffron Spice and then added the black, it would faster go to brown, I think. Oh gosh, I don't even want to know what the live captions are saying. So for, yeah, I'm going for more blue than purple, but yes, there is a little bit of purple in there, which we could definitely mix some, because we've got indigo and we've got some red-ish tones over here as well. So there's a lot that we can play with. But I'm bringing over, these are some, my Nicole Frost swatch cards. Dharma, let's see. Wait, do I not see Saffron Spice? Okay. On this version, which is her old version, the Blazing Orange and the Saffron Spice look very, very similar. I have ordered, she has a new version of her website. You can get laminated swatch cards at, well, on them it says what depth of shade it is. I think some colors she did at like 1.5% depth of shade. I ordered a new laminated copy because she got a new camera, and so it's more, the photos are more color corrected, I think. But there's also PDFs that you can purchase. So when I do swatching, I like to do it in the very crude way and look at the powders because I like working with dry powders a lot. And so that's some information I find to be really helpful because sometimes the 1% depth of shade color can be really, really different, but then the powders look really, really similar. And so, yeah, but if you want to look at the 1% depth of shade on yarn, Nicole Frost, highly recommend. Maroon, I don't, oh, there was a maroon color that Dharma discontinued, so I don't have that. Okay, but now I'm debating if I want to start here and then move it to the stove, which maybe we'll do that because I like this camera better. Just gotta make sure. Woohoo! We're on screen. On screen. Okay, let's think about how much water I want. This is the ever-present question. And I need acid. If I were my cup, have a little cup sitting around that has that just has like a tablespoon thing in it that I use. I don't mind if some gets in the thing. I'll pour vinegar in it, and sometimes I let it dry out, or I dump the rest in and I just leave it. And so it's like, where's my vinegar cup? Need my vinegar cup. Okay, let's start with four tablespoons of white vinegar. 8 cups of water. I may add more water. I'm trying to be very careful with my wrist. It's okay, just weak. Let's do. I'm coming in with 3 pre-soaked skeins of Knit Picks Stroll fingering weight yarn. I should have affiliate links to Knit Picks and to like Amazon and stuff in the video description. But I did go ahead and pre-soak this in plain tap water, which is the way I most frequently do things. And that is in huge part because I like to have control over when I add acid and how much acid I have, and so that's why I like to do things that way. Now, right now, there is not a lot of liquid in here, which means that if I were to, say, take, and actually, I may as well just do this. Let me get my gloves on. It means that the colors won't necessarily spread very far. The problem with having wet hands and trying to put gloves on. Oh, Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca. So, for example, if I take this orange right here and just pour it on, that is just some remnant of the blazing orange. We will be using a lot more dye, but if I do that, you can see that it's not going to sort of continue to spread very far. There might be a little bit because we do have a fair amount of liquid in here, but because the yarn, there's 300 grams of yarn in here, that gives some resist to the project already. So if I were to lift this up, the dye isn't even able to go all the way through the yarn that we have here. And in fact, if I come and press, we have enough acid in here that the dye is not going to spread very much at all yet. But yeah, gloves. I try to reuse gloves now, especially because they are so expensive right now. But I tend to reuse them. I let them dry out before I reuse them. So I'm going to get some more water. I think another 8 cups. Just so that way when we add our dye, the yarn will still sort of shift up to fill the space that we add. But now there is so much more space in here that when I pour dye on, it's just as likely to hit water first as it is to hit the yarn. And so that will make it a little easier to help some things spread and blend. Yep, that orange struck already. So this is why I think we have a shot of adding blue last. Cool. Oh, he's just checking that the camera is working. So, I mean, I thought about measuring. I don't really want to measure. I just kind of want to go for it and really go by feel. So, oh dear. Oh my gosh, that could have been really bad. Oh my goodness. So sometimes when like I first make dye stocks, I make them hot, and so I didn't have the lid on all the way. I could have just flung dye everywhere. Oh my goodness. Whew. Whew. Really, really glad. Really glad. Okay, I'm gonna take maybe that's between like 75 and 100 milliliters. So more than I had in there before. But I've got that much here in the cup. And I'm going to pour this on. And, you know, help it a bit. I'm not going to care if I leave some white. We aren't on the heat yet, and so adding heat will shift some things as well. But, you know, we're just going to see where we go. And into that same cup that I used before. Now, the stock of True Black is older. It is an older stock. And taking an aliquot, I'm just taking a portion of the whole, and I'm going to pour this on. And I don't know how well you can see, just from pouring it, the tendrils of the dye moving through. And I am going to add the rest in a moment, but I do want to try to take a picture of this, of the dye tendril, because that feel, oops, I just kind of moved it. Those little spirals of the dye moving sort of made me think of the smoke. And so, some colors start striking pretty quickly and others don't. And so as I'm doing this, I'm sort of massaging the dye to the lower layers, but also I don't mind if we've got some white left, and I'm going to help this kind of smoke towards the orange a bit. I don't want to do it too much yet. Let's see. We'll grab some liquid, add some more of this black, and again, I'm just sort of massaging and letting it, at least in this area, go deeper. And same with the orange. It definitely has not all struck yet. Oh, I really could have used a yarn mop. Look how cool that is. Maybe I'll get one later. But in doing this, we potentially have preserved some light areas and some spots where maybe we can try adding some blues, which may shift some things brown, but we may be able to read some of the blue if we try that slowly. So I am now going to move this to the stove. Oh dear. And I am going to switch cameras. Which the positive thing is that I will know right away if that camera needs to be reset or not. Okay, let me come over. Too bad I can't. Someday, if I have mods, they wouldn't even be able to swap this remotely for me. Single camera tennis ball. Oh, that did something weird. Let's see. It's really zoomed in. Nope. Nope. Now I can zoom back in. Oh, Dawn. There we go. Don Jans, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. And whoa, the orange looks very red right here. So I'm going to turn on the heat. We are across 2 burners. I have it on medium high right now, but as soon as we start seeing some bubbles, I will reduce the heat. But the heat will also help. Sometimes when things are cold, the colors just kind of sit where you put them. Heat might make things spread more. And we have a lot of black dye in here, and we have a fair amount of orange as well. So things may spread a lot more as we sit here. But now I am going to come sit down, and I'm actually going to try to adjust the white balance. But I'll let you guys see my tired face. My tired face. Okay, let's see. That is tennis ball. Settings. It's on auto white balance. Nope, see. Problem is that, like, if I go, it does, like, weird. No, it's really not. It's got too much. Normally, I feel like that the pinks, there's not enough pinks. Today, it feels like we have too much magenta in there, and I do not have that. I don't have that level of control over it. It is very much more of an orange. And so let me now check the chat and see what people have to say. Did I set it? I didn't set a timer yet. At the start of the stream, you were putting together your colorway for the dye-along. It's interestingly similar to this, and you weren't watching. Hey, that's totally fine. That's part of the fun of doing these dye-alongs, because you can see how sometimes 2 people might come up with a really similar idea for where they want to take the colorway, and sometimes people might do things that are completely different. And that's part of the fun. But I do always invite people to try to replicate the colorways that I create. That's part of why I like share recipes and things like that. Seeing me remove my gloves makes you wonder what kind you use. Are the gloves on the list of frequently used equipment? Probably. Let me check right now. So a lot of my frequently used equipment is in the video description. So I use purple nitrile gloves, and I'm checking to see. Yeah, so they're Kimberly-Clark, or sometimes there's another brand that's Halyard Health, and I use medium-sized purple nitrile gloves. These are the same that were my favorite from when I was working in the lab. And unfortunately, the pandemic has brought gloves up from, they used to be like $10 for a box of 100. They are now $30 for a box of 100. So that has made gloves a lot more expensive, and so therefore I take a little more care with how often I reuse them. Ooh, great question from Stacy B. If a skein has already been dyed, can speckles be added later? Yes, absolutely. So some dyers will talk about their colorways in terms of process, like single process, double process, things like that. And that can refer to the steps that you do to completely dye the yarn, and then to do a whole other round, which isn't necessarily the same as dyeing the colors like this and then flipping and dyeing the other side and then setting it. That could still, actually I'm not sure, I would still consider that a single process. But say dyeing this first and then adding, say, speckles on top of it might be considered a double process, especially if there are a lot of dyers that use like proofing cupboards to then do large amounts of pans at a time versus doing small batches like me on the stove. And so that takes a lot longer to set the yarn because it takes more time to get it up to temperature and then to let it cool off so then you can handle it. And so, you know, then doing that and adding speckles adds, you know, probably another day to the whole process. But yes, you can speckle first and dye after, or dye first and then speckle after. I typically prefer, well, it depends. I typically prefer to have the speckles be done at the end because I like to be able to control where I place the speckles relative to the tonal I have. So if there's a lighter patch, maybe I want to put the speckles there, for example. But there are some colorways I've done where the speckles end up being subtle enough that if I have the base color on there first, I can't really tell where I've added the speckles. And so therefore I can't really see the speckles. And therefore it makes it really hard to do that speckle stage, even though you see it on the dry yarn. So in those circumstances, I might prefer to do the speckles first and then over dye it. So there's a lot of preference involved. I have bubbles. All right, I am going to go reduce. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to my tech team. I am going to reduce to medium, and I'm going to set a timer, because I forgot to do that before, for 10 minutes. But since I'm up here, there is still a fair amount of dye, but it's starting to clear in some spots. Now, I did not yet, and even that, these are striking really fast. I did not try to move these colors through, and when we flip, because I think I want to flip before we try to add the blue, because I'm curious what's happening beneath, because we could have a lot more blending going on down beneath that surface, which is honestly rather fun. But I would say I'm going to take a picture and post it to my Instagram so you guys can see, although of course that's not helping me very much right now. Nope, not single take. I do not like that mode. Let's go into Pro, where I can manually adjust the white balance. See, that's still looking... See, your eyes correct, the lights in here are fairly yellow, and so my eyes correct for it in a way that I'm struggling to capture. There we go. Let's see. That's still looking a little bit pinker than what I see in person, but I'll still share this on Instagram. Feed stories. Okay, so that is added to stories, and let me see actually if I can pull it up. Oh, I'm gonna have to get it into photos. Okay, I'll try to pull that up in a moment. And there we go. But now's a great time to continue to ask questions. So it won't hurt the original color if you add speckles with vinegar, etc. Well, depending on the technique that you do, you could absolutely shift the colors, the original colors, when you add speckles. It depends on if you're doing a technique that lets the speckle color spread out a little bit, or if you're doing, say, on the countertop, something that doesn't involve as much spread. But I do have a number of videos where I've done a lot of layering of color. Oh, Judy, I'm not sure if you guys can see my tired face. Let's see. Ooh, you just got your first large order of acid dyes from Dharma. Congratulations. Oh, this is a nice question from April. What 3 colors of dye would you recommend getting to someone who just started to dye? So I have a list of 6 colors. And I'm not, brand, there are many options for brands, but I recommend that you see what the brand you want to go with what they consider to be primaries and get a primary red, yellow, blue, cyan or turquoise, magenta or some kind of hot pink, and then a black. Those are the 6 colors that if you have, you can then pretty much mix absolutely everything else. If you were only going to do 4, then the reason why this is a little tricky is that I would recommend a cyan and magenta over a blue and a red because it gives you more flexibility. You can sort of get to that deeper blue from your cyan, but fluorescent pinks and blues, well, there aren't fluorescent blue acid dyes, but neon blue colors, those can take a lot longer to absorb, and so therefore they can sometimes be a little trickier to work with. So that's why I recommend that list of 6 colors. And so actually we can go to Dharma's website. Web browsing. Here we go. So here I would recommend Brilliant Yellow. My batch of Fire Engine Red was not great, but it's okay. Fire Engine Red, either fluorescent fuchsia or deep magenta. I'm gonna have to, I just swatched all the pinks, and so I'm not sure which one of the 2 I would pick. I do enjoy fluorescent fuchsia a lot. Caribbean Blue is a good primary. Peacock Blue doesn't always do well in stock solutions, but is a really pretty color. I think that Jacquard's Blue I like a little bit better. Shopping with ChemKnits. So sky blue is not very pigmented. Brilliant blue, from Jacquard, I really, really like. I think that for stock solutions, I enjoy that blue. And I also like Jacquard's turquoise. I don't like Dharma's turquoise as much. It's a little bit trickier, but I do like Jacquard's. I mean, I use a lot of Dharma dyes more because I enjoy the pots, but yeah, some of the stuff is a bit trial and error. Oops, no, I do want to go to 2 camera. And let's see. Yeah, so if you want to see the Jacquard dyes that are my favorites, I have a collaboration with Knit Crate for a Dive into Dyeing series, which is still, there's a waiting list still for it. I have no idea when that's coming back into stock. There have been a lot of supply chain issues. But if you go to the Dive into Dyeing page, you can see the 9 dye colors that are in that course. And so the dye colors from night 1 and night 3 are my top 6 colors. Although I do like Dharma's True Black better than Jacquard's Jet Black. So, yeah. Anyway, that's a long-winded way. I hope that helps. And so, yeah, Neil said sometimes there's bleed when you speckle. So if you want green with orange speckles, you'd add in some blue and the orange will bleed some yellow, which could create the green. That's great. Is it true that I don't have the problem getting frozen to clear that you have with turquoise? No, I don't have the same issues there. I wonder, because I think turquoise from Dharma has a direct dye in it. I don't remember. Like Caribbean blue is like a bright blue color. Frozen is a premixed pastel. It's not a primary color. But because it's a pastel, it makes it harder to use too much, and so therefore I don't typically have issues with it just because I don't overdo it. And I think because it has less pigment in there, I don't overdo it as much. So you got the Knit Crate Dyer Supplier Diamond to Dye Pack about 6 months ago. It arrived today. Oh my gosh. Their supply, like, it's taken them so long to shift. I forgot to say in my recent unboxing with Knit Crate is that only sign up now if you can afford, both patience-wise and money-wise, to just be patient and wait a while for each package. Oh, you live in Australia? Okay, then that makes a little more sense for it taking that long. Let's see. Do I ever practice on silk? I do have, not very many, but I do dye silk occasionally. But I haven't done color comparisons on silk versus wool for a wide variety of colors. So one reason why you might see differences is that I believe that Dharma's colors are colors for that the way they show up on silk versus wool. And silk needs a lot more pigment for the same color, saturation that you see versus like wool. You think your first dye order was a starter pack from Dharma? That's just as I described. Yay! Cool. I don't know if Dharma ships to Canada or not. That's not something I know. I haven't tried Prochem dyes before, but I know a lot of people like them. Yeah, turquoise is so easy to overdo. Amen. Oh, I didn't, well, I'll pull up. Okay, I'm going to do this first. I was like, the photo's probably uploaded by now. And yes, I have pumpkin pants on. Let's see. Go into photos and download. See, that one's not as good. This one's pretty good. Download. Okay. Now, let's add some photos. Oh wait, I forgot. I could do it this way. Downloads. I think I can literally just drag and drop. Yes. How do I scale it though? Transform. Okay, so that is a little bit of the color, which stove. Okay, see how much more orange it is in person versus that like weird pink color that you see up there? So that like, there's a limit of what I can in the software figure out how to do. I haven't tried Ashford dyes. I think there is an Ashford starter kit. Ashford dyes are really expensive. Of course, I've only seen them through Paradise Fibers, and the Paradise Fibers dyes are also pretty expensive, but also rather nice. So shipping from Dharma can be costly even in the US. So just throwing that out there. Okay, little pumpkin. So again, the colors, let's see if I can make it like tiny. Nope, here we go. So this is more of the color that I have. And I am considering just leaving this. Oh no, it's not one I wanted to move. I am considering just leaving this like right there. It's just like a handy little reference. That's what the color is. Okay, I'm gonna go to the stove, but I'm gonna bring this question with me. In my Etsy store, what are my most popular colorways? And how do you fade? Everyone's been talking for years about finding the fade. I think that most popular colorways is a very tricky thing for me because I don't replicate colorways very often. I do, yeah, all this color. There might be like a hint left, but the color is pretty much absorbed. I very rarely repeat colorways. Sometimes I do because I really enjoy it and I want to revisit something, but because I'm filming these videos, I therefore don't repeat a lot of things. So, tongs. Yeah, so sometimes like it surprises me what sells. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to say. So last month we did the resist, and you know I was so curious about what would what would be people's favorites. Hot. I was curious about what would be people's favorites. I should have like done this a little smarter. Okay, as I was saying, I was curious about what colors would be people's favorites, if people would be drawn more towards the one with resist and without. And so there were 2 of each colorway, and when those sold, they actually, the 2 people that bought it got 1 of each. And so I thought that was really cool. All right, so now I am going to come in. This is just a tiny bit of frozen. This is literally some remnant, and I really messed up with the spoon, but this is already struck. But that kind of color is on par with what I want. But it struck fast. So I want like a tiny amount. And by tiny amount, it's not even 5 mils. Like, not even a teaspoon. And actually, I'm going to give us more water to dilute it even more. I'm not sure how I feel about the blue. Okay, but here I have it in about 2 cups of water. Okay. No idea how frozen strikes pretty quickly. Oh, cool. We'll probably need to add some more to the other side. I am going to get a little bit more orange. A bit more than what I did. We're doing a lot of dyeing by feel. So I've got, oh wait, this has markers on it. Maybe 75, between 50 and 75 milliliters of our blazing orange. And I am going to bring some of this over here onto the black. Still keeping some lightness in there. And I don't mind keeping some like white over here as well. See, now that things are hot, things are going to strike faster. And I think I will bring, not a lot, but I think I'm going to bring a little bit of black down here. I want more than that. That was a tiny bit. I'm like, that didn't even register. But I'm taking just a small splash, maybe 25 mils. Very rough estimate. And I am now before I added the dye and I didn't really dilute it. Now I'm diluting it a bit because if I add all the dye, the part of the effect is the same, but by diluting it as I add it, it means that I can spread the color further. So if I were just to take 25 milliliters of that dye and pour it straight on, it would strike pretty quickly. But by spreading it more, it gives me a chance to by having more liquid, it allows me to get it over a larger surface area. And I'm even letting some of it come up onto this blue. It's smoking the blue out even more. The blue's pretty bright in the picture, but I really want that to be fairly soft. So I'm now going to wait 10 minutes, and then I think I'll flip and add a tiny bit more blue to the other side. And maybe some other colors as well. Tonight is very much a dye by feel, see where the colors take us, and I will try to get a photo of this for when I go sit down to share. But I'm really happy that I added some orange onto the black. I enjoyed them separate, but yeah, I mean, I think I would have also just been happy tonight working only with orange and black, not trying to bring the blue in, but it's a challenge. And so I really wanted to see what I could do. And I need to set that timer. Oh dear. I will also add this to my Instagram stories. So over there, I am just ChemKnits.com, or sorry, I'm Instagram.com/ChemKnits. Which I will go ahead and pop into the chat. And yeah, so my blue is definitely not nearly as bright as the picture, but I smoked it out because I think that made me like it a little bit more. Let me see if I can get how quickly that picture will go into my Google Photos. Yay! Because then I can drag it in here. What? I just downloaded it. There it is. I was like, I do not see it. Okay, so this is what we see over there. How do I rotate you? Nope. So here is a more real mini version of what I see up there. The blue is still very pale, but the oranges are more orange. As my screen will just slowly get taken up by like messy little things. Oh, shoot. But now I want to bring my face back. So let's copy these to camera. Oh, bummer. Well, okay, fine. You can go away. Yeah. Okay. There, now it's down there next to me. Because, yeah, the blue's not really showing up. But, of course, the colors could be spreading, so it could look different from what I'm seeing sitting here as well. All right, let me see. Oh, and Stacey, I didn't answer the second half of the question about how do you fade. If you want to do a project with multiple colors that sort of transition from one to the next, one video I recommend is to go look at my Comfort Fade Cardigan vlog, because you can see the colorways that Labi and Amy made to go together. And that, I think the things that worked well for sort of like a seamless gradient feel, especially with variegated yarn, is having some elements from like your first color also be maybe in your second and third color, and sort of having that transition. But if you look at each skein, it looks like if you were just to switch, maybe there could be, the transition might feel hard. It's, as I go blurry, it's a little hard to tell. So if I was, yeah, so I think that you want to look for things that look nice to one another And the best way to fade things together is you mix up the rows a little bit in between one color and the next. So you might do one, like when you're adding color B, you might do one row of color B, 2 rows of A, or 4, depend or something, one more of B, 2, you know, you might do it slow and sort of like transition to fade one in and fade one out. So the comfort fade cardigan. So yeah, those colors, and the way to fade the colors together is written as part of the pattern. But the La Bien Aimée does stunning color work for yarn. Oh, your blue got lost and became green. That's fine. You know, that was one thing that I was like, there was a risk. And it's funny, I really like that pop of blue in the picture, but I'm also just like, I don't know if I'm going to like it on the yarn. So we'll see. But it's okay if it goes green. That's totally fine. It's sort of trial and error, and I'm surprised mine hasn't gone green yet. I might build it slowly. I think I'll flip, maybe add some blue on the other side, and then see where we go. Ooh, purple speckles on the blue would be fun. I'm only planning on playing with speckles if I'm going to use up some of the leftovers I have tonight, because yeah, I'm only going to pull out the respirator mask if I really feel like it. It's hard to talk for long periods of time while wearing the mask. It's why these days I do more and more voiceovers when I am speckling and stuff, because it's just easier to talk without the mask on. So yes, the yarn I made for that sweater was a collection that I purchased. Let me actually... Okay, so here's La Bien Aimée's website, and they are in France, and you know, it is expensive, but worth it. So this set, is that peanut butter and jelly? Yeah. This is not the exact set that I used, but it is, the set I used was peanut butter and jelly, and had like this color, I think these 3 colors, but not these last 2. But if you look, you can see that we get sort of a deeper color that transitions, and there might be a big step. But if you look at my sweater, then, which, hold on. There we go. Okay, so if you look at my sweater, you can see a few lines that feel a little bit striped, and actually the biggest one is because not even a color change, but it was a dye lot change from one skein to another. But something about like some of this pink showing through and then having more gray, it made it really, really soft. Those transitions really soft, and having the yarn be really variegated really helped. I think that I like, with the speckles and the more variegated yarns, the way the fade came out a lot more than I like the way some fades come out when people are using tonals. Because if there's a bigger step between colors, you will see the stripes when you blend them together. It's not going to be as soft as it would if you had sort of those micro stripe feels from your yarn anyway. So I will say that, and when I pull up La Bien Aimée's shop, I don't, when you're dyeing your own yarn, I don't recommend like going for inspiration in someone else's shop. But I think if you're shopping and thinking about pulling colors that work together, checking out fade sets that dyers and designers recommend, yeah, this is one that I adore. I would, and of course it's sold out, but I almost, if this wasn't sold out, I would have bought this for my sweater. I'm obsessed with this fade. So I guess my point is that you can see what kinds of things dyers put together to get a feeling for how subtle are each shift in each step. Or, as I go blurry, are the differences can be big, but then if you look at the colors of yarn that are used and then say samples that people have knit with it, that can help give a sense of, okay, I really like that this speckle color carried all the way through and that kind of thing. So I think that that can be helpful. I just don't recommend, but what I say is when it comes to dyeing your own yarn, you should try to pull that inspiration from like photographs. So if I was going to do a fade here, I would probably do a like very pumpkin orange one with some white, and then slowly maybe have some that with some more black speckles and maybe more grayed out. And then maybe in there also I'd have some hints of blue that I'd introduce, and then maybe make the blue a little bit brighter, make the other colors a bit darker, and do something like that to try to create some kind of fade. That might be just off the top of my head how I might do it with these colors that we're working with today. So yeah, I hope that that's helpful. Thank you. Okay, let me go back to the stove. I forget. Where is it? There it is. I tend to forget that I can tune out the timer, but not everyone can. I like this. I agree. I don't want, see, it's all about proportion. I don't want it to go green, but I really should pump up the blue. I don't know if I like the blue. That's the problem, though. I'm not sure how much I like it. So maybe what I should do, there's a little bit of black left in this cup. So I've got a mixture of blue and black. How hot are we? Hot. Okay, maybe I want to use the tongs instead of the spoon. Unfortunately, there isn't a good way for me to do this where, oh, this might actually, oh yeah, be better. There isn't a good way for me to do this. The problem with being right-handed sometimes in the direction I have the camera, because I want to move it. I don't want to wait too long to move it because I don't want the lines to be that harsh. The tone of the blue is wrong. I will say that right now. It should be brighter, and my blue is deeper, but I like it. So I'm going to give this 5 minutes. You all inspired me. I went for it. We went more blue. Gosh, to get the tone, part of the problem is that I feel there's a little too much yellow in it, and the blue in the photograph is such a cool toned blue with maybe a hint of pink to it versus yellow that it's hard to do with this kind of technique that we have here today. So I'm trying to see, Carol, how long ago? I guess you said that right now. Yeah, I mean, the blue, the color of the blue is off. I don't have a good way to correct that because to do that I'd have to remove the yellow, and I don't think I can do that. But I can say that for me, I like the blue in there more, adding it with the black, because before it didn't work well for me, and so I kind of like the pop, and I think that this will look really nice together. If I like it, it can't be wrong. Well, you know, it's art, right? And art is very subjective, and so it's okay for people to not like what I create. And it's okay for me to not like what I create. But I like this. It is a risk. It is a challenge. It's hard when I say this, and I'll come sit down. Use brilliant blue. The problem with brilliant blue, where's my 2 camera? As I'm blurry, it'll find me. There we go. The problem with adding brilliant blue is that it's a deeper blue and more pastel. It is not very bright. And so that's why I went for Frozen, because it has like that brighter, more neon edge. But the tone of it isn't quite right. It's almost like Baby Blue Eyes maybe would be a better blue. Baby Blue Eyes might have been a good one. Frozen, because see, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing Frozen, but I'm wishing that it was a little more purple. But I don't really want to add pink to this right now to try to shift it. So I like the way the yarn looks. It's just not the best representation of the picture, which again is also making this a really great learning process, because sometimes when you're dyeing yarn, if you have an inspiration you're trying to hit, it's okay to move a little bit away from it. Clearly, I'm still inspired by this photo with the technique and the colors that I'm doing. It's just, yeah, if I was going to start from scratch, I might pick, let me see if I have, where are my swatches? But see, the problem with the color swatches I have is that these are looking at, where's the Blue Jay one? Scale. Nope, I want to. Why won't it let me do it? Sorry, everyone. Okay. I just want to make it. Sometimes it lets me like scale to frame size, and sometimes it doesn't. So I think that the Baby Blue Eyes still has a brightness to it when it goes more pastel, and it is much more of a pink blue, and that would have been a better choice. It's still bright, and so yeah, I kind of wish if I was starting over I might have gone with that. But mixed with, the problem is that that blue mixed with the orange would definitely start leaning brown. And so that's the other thing that you have to think about and consider as you're playing with all of this. And so I don't mind if I get brown. I think that that goes with the picture. And I know I would get some lovely browns from mixing the black and orange. So I think that it's all sort of a balancing act, and that's why the best way to learn is by going for it and playing and trying, and then learning from what you've tried and trying again. So. Canceling out yellow might happen by adding a light purple. Blue plus red turns, yeah. So, like, there are ways to do it. Yeah, a little splash of violet to the blue if it's too warm. Yeah, I just know, I think if I was hand painting on the countertop, it would be easier to do versus what I'm doing here. So. But see, what I love about doing these live streams and the chats are that, like, all of this is so, like, collaborative and helpful, and it makes doing this live a lot of fun. Because I'm okay seeing where things end up, even if it's not perfect. Ooh. These colors are striking so well. And again, like, having some white left behind is good. Too bad I don't know where. And like, I'm intentionally leaving some whites like at the ties. It's just, this whole thing is fun. I want to add a little bit more blue to this side into this smoked section, and maybe a tiny bit of black up there. but we'll see. Okay. If I knew where the other blues were, then maybe I would mix some up, but I don't. And I don't have, the only other blue I have mixed up right now is indigo, which is not the right color for the project. Not at all. I actually don't have anything super, almost everything I have is very orange and yellow down here. Ooh. Well, I'm bringing in a deep blue. I mixed it a little too dark. So again, not quite right for our inspiration, but it works. Ooh, I really like this blue, this deeper blue mixed in. I like how it goes. Actually, my sister-in-law's wedding colors were blue and orange. So we're gonna have some brighter blue and some deeper blue, and I'm kind of here for it. Whoa! Let's reduce the heat. Let's use that up. Maybe we'll get a little bit of black. Just a tiny splash, maybe approximately teaspoon-ish. Maybe not even that much. Okay, and Rebecca, I don't have to use it all. See, I don't want like a stripe. That's the problem. I want it softer. I want it dirtier. I want it smokier. There. I don't have to use it all. I just wanted to muss that up a little bit. Just a bit. So yeah, my blue was too dark, but I actually really like this colorway a lot. And so I'm thinking now, let's see, I think I might try to move this to another burner in a second, but maybe let's go ahead, let's let it sit for 5 minutes. I'll give it 5 minutes and we'll just check before I move it, because once I move it, I'm not gonna move it back, because that is a lot of back and forth. And so then I'll have to think about what I do next. So again, I'm leaning into my wrong blue decision, and I like it. So I don't know if I would have done this if not for picking this photo. So therefore I'm really happy. Halloween's about mystery anyway, yes. Wait, Ruth, with hyacinth. I haven't used that a lot. I did swatch it sometime recently. Like, so here are the purples. Yeah, hyacinth. It's very much like Jacquard Violet. It's very blue purple. Very pretty. Although, of course, there I was just pointing to the screen and you can't see my mouse there. Let's see, Halloween's about mystery. There's the process. You're playing when it comes to toning and using complementary secondary colors to help with undertones. Ooh, yeah, I think that I have done, yeah, there's some more color mixing stuff I have coming up, and the more I play with color mixing, the more it helps me visualize what different colors might do if combined on yarn. So I was fairly confident if the amount of blue I used was not too much. I don't know, I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to end up with a lot of green, but I also knew I could have. I knew that the orange is fairly intense. Fluorescent safety orange, yes, can be a bleeder, but I don't think I've ever used it too much, and I don't think I've had a major problem with it. So it's a gorgeous, like an awesome color though. Like for getting flames, using it sort of like speckled, because you get like this yellow halo, it's beautiful. beautiful. Blue mixed with black is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, that's the fun thing about like a turquoise, because you can get that better blue, that like truer blue, if you mix it with some fuchsia. Before you get to a purple, you get a really, really lovely sort of more like Crayola blue kind of color. You're taking a social media vacation and you haven't been able to search the lab group. Yeah, I just feel like I'm both like at my computer all the time and not at my computer often enough. It's like it's hard sometimes, because if I'm at my computer, I'm either shipping or editing, and then like running around a lot. So that's where I am a lot of the time. But actually, I think there's a couple minutes left on the timer. I think I am going to take a brief break and send to a quick commercial break. But then when the timer goes off, or maybe like a minute after, just like a short break, I will be right back. So please stand by. Hello. Oh, I was listening to the music. Do you guys want to see like a sneak peek of something? It's a little mug rug I made from like my first. Oh no! There goes the timer. Rigid Tuttle Loom. That vlog will be coming soon. There we go. Yeah, I was finally editing where I dyed one of those colors. Awesome. I think I'm pretty good with this pumpkin-y yarn. And my good, I'm like petting tennis ball over here, has done super well. Super well. So I've briefly turned off the heat. And I am like not even going to check this too much. I am going to go with it. But first, let's take you over here and let's think about what we're going to do next. Because part of me wants to go pumpkin. Okay, I know what I want to Debate. Okay, part of me wants to do leave no dye behind speckles, but maybe I'll just do that for a video that doesn't have anything to do with tonight. I think I might want to do like an orange and black thing. Ooh, did that freeze? Oh no. Okay. I'm moving this over. Okay. Okay, set a timer for 20 minutes. Okay, I think that next... Oh no, I left that camera on too. Oh well. There wasn't anything to see yet. Well, excuse me, stove. I think I've got... if I use zebra fingering, which is non-superwash, which I really want to do, I want to do the orange and black on that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But if I do that, that's not going to set very quickly. That often takes a lot more time to set, just that particular base. So, yeah, that is something I'm thinking about. But okay, I can show my... Oh, thanks, Neil. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so this is my mug rug. There's actually 6 of them. And I could see how my weaving got better. Like I had a more balanced set or something as I went on. And I think one of the yarns I used was superwash and one was non-superwash. And I played around with different amounts of fulling it to wet finish. And I liked, this may be one where I did more, like where I was more aggressive with really like going to town on it. Or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know, but it was just fun. Fun first project, and the drape is really good. I've been lurking. I've never commented on anything, but I've had like, I'm in a Rigid Heddle like Facebook group, and so, okay, I need to go turn that down. But so it was fun. But anyway, the vlog, I am working on editing it, so I expect that to be up in November. Single camera, this one. And that is a mess. Let me see. Rebecca's awesome for letting us learn with her. Oh, thank you. I try my best to answer questions. You're a fan of Mystery Speckles, added bonus. Yeah, I don't know how well the mug rug will work as a mug rug. Like, I don't know how absorbent it is, but I was actually gifted my loom by someone watching, and I had to order like some shuttles and stuff, and then like pandemic made it hard for me to just start, but I finally took the time to do it. And I'm gonna use, I've got some like I think I'm gonna use some knit crate yarn to practice. Okay, that's on camera. I think I'm gonna use some knit crate yarns to practice with before going to some more that I've dyed. Oh no. No. Rogue strand. I feel like zebra fingering is always perfect for the dye-alongs. This is zebra fingering. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool from Wool to Dye For. It's 2-ply. One of the strands I think is just bare white. The other one has like black and is variegated. So you've got like some strands that are all white, some that are half and half, and it's just so fun. And we're gonna dye this with some orange and black and just have fun. And then see how much of that we see through. So that's the plan there. Don't use Knit Picks Muse on the loom. The single ply one, that I would imagine would break pretty easily. So before I start on that, single camera. So this was leftover. I started with remnant yarn. The warp, so the light multicolored, was yarn that Lucas dyed once. And then the weft, the orange, was yarn I dyed to go along with it for a hat I made him. So first I had to finish that hat vlog, which was like, spanned well over 2 years. Oh my goodness. And then, because I realized, I'm like, oh, the yarn that's remnant, it's from another project for another video. That's all over the place. Like, that's why I think I hadn't put that video together for 2 years. But yeah, it's fun, and I plan to play more. Nope. Although you can kind of see my pumpkin leggings. So let me see. Good night, Chantel. So here's one thing I am sad about. And I've talked a little bit about, but I ended up with, because of a video I was filming, I ended up with a repetitive stress injury in my wrist, and I had to take like 2 weeks off. I had planned this, like, which is not what I'm dyeing now, but I had planned a Halloween colorway that I was going to do. There was a mystery. I have like awesome like stitch markers, and I had thought about the wrapping, and like I was so excited. And because I kind of wanted to do it last year, but with the pandemic I wasn't able to, and then this year I was gonna do it, and then like between the injury and just like stress, it didn't work out. I'm realizing that if I'm gonna do this, either I should do like Halloween in February or something, you know, Halloween in March, or I need to plan Halloween, this Halloween thing I wanted to do, right after like the summer mini skein mini series, because when I'm shipping Hanukkah like right up to Halloween, there's not like time to do something else that's a mystery, you know. So that was, I have the yarn I want to use for that, and so someday it'll happen. Yeah, so, oh dear. I really wanted to do something for Halloween. I may do something for Valentine's Day again, but I haven't planned that far in advance. Okay, so that was 8 cups of water. Let's add more, because I want the orange and black to like be friends. Five, 6 tablespoons of white vinegar. I'm gonna get 8 more cups of water. Let me read the chat. Spooky March. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but okay, so we've got 16 cups of water. I'm in Boston. Yeah, but doing like mystery colorways is always a little stressful. But I think what I did for Valentine's Day is I did some mystery, and then I did some dyed to order after the fact, and that a couple times a year is something I can probably handle more. I think I just forgot how busy a quote real fall, because the kids actually have school. I forgot how busy that feels. Okay, this is leftover black that I'd had before, but it's not very much, and so it's going to be more gray. And now I'm going to come in with some orange. A fair amount of orange. And I am just straight going in. And I'm really trying to move the color through and help it. This is like what I did before with the other one. I'm trying to help some amount of this color get through, because it might be hard to flip it. Because what I had found with this yarn in the past is that it absorbs color pretty slowly. And so sometimes I wait until the next morning thinking I might flip then, and only to decide, oh, I don't think I need to. So I've got maybe 75 milliliters of black. I'm curious if, like, at any point I have enough that, like, that it will sort of be hard to see. I still see the second ply in there. We've got some, like, nice grays in here. I am going to move this to the stove now. Leaving a gap, I'm expecting to see some more spread, so I might add some more color in a little bit. Hard to decide if I want to do something cold versus do it hot, because sometimes some colors can behave differently and it gives you a different ability to move and things like that. But I like something turn you off. Oops, I just want one color. Nope. Stove. Tennis ball. So again, we don't have the blue. I could choose to add the blue, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let this be my, like, orange and black spooky. Okay, so I have 7.5 minutes left on the timer for our other colorway. We've got a lot of pigment here. Again, things are likely going to move. And so I think we have more acid in here for this yarn than we did with our previous one. The difference is that this is non-superwash yarn. And so because this yarn isn't superwash, it's not going to absorb the color anywhere near as quickly. And so that, when I was thinking like, ooh, what do I want to do? I knew as soon as I go to this that the stove is now probably full for the night. If I were filming an episode of Dye Pot Weekly, then I could easily move the camera from this set of burners. Did the camera freeze? The camera froze. But at least I wasn't doing anything. Tennis ball. There we go. Or maybe it didn't. No, I can see the steam now. Hello. So, if I'm filming Dye Pot Weekly, I can very easily go back and forth between the half of the stove I'm on. The side that this zebra yarn is on right now is my favorite side to film on because the burners are the same size, and so it's easier to get nice even heat. But I do flip between the two sides all the time. Often I'll have two videos going on at once at various stages, so then in each of the waiting stages I'll work on like a different project. Yeah, once I have two full pans on the stove, it's not easy to like move them and swap them. So it was sort of like, I either have to finish a colorway in one pan, then I can remove it and reuse that same pan for something else, or sometimes that's why I might do something on the countertop followed by steam setting, because then the steamer basket can turn over a lot faster. So it depends. It depends. But I'm having a lot of fun. Okay, I was like, I think I need to go reduce something over there. Purples and greens would be awesome. Purples and greens are super fun. So yeah, I don't even have like a pre-filmed Halloween video this year. I mean, not that that needs to be something I do every year, so I need to like not feel like pressure, but just like I didn't have like a happy birthday Dye Pot Weekly thing. I've just been like trying to get through. The timing of me hurting my wrist was both good in that the kids didn't have camp, but it was bad because I couldn't, the way I hurt my wrist, I couldn't pour. So I couldn't twist. That's where it hurt, like in here. And so it made it really, that part really, really weak. So I could do things like use the computer and stuff, that didn't hurt it. It was like twisting and pressure that was hard. And so, yeah, turns out when you do like a lot of like holding various containers up like this and pouring day after day after day, and your wrist starts to hurt, you should listen and slow down. Lessons I've learned. Yeah, it's funny because I think I have the camera on the counter a little overexposed. There is a fair amount of color in there. Yeah, it's just, and the orange is more like, which I've shown from, nope, that's the purples. Here, the orange is like has more yellow in it than it looks on the camera as well. So let's see. I do always bring out the zebra. I contemplate during Blue Jay. It just, you know, it just fits every time. Like with watermelon. Yeah, now I want to look through what my last dialogues were. Okay, of course, they're not in any order. So I did not use it with lightning, or I think with the books. I did use it for watermelon. I don't know if I did a rainbow one. I did use it for Blue Jay. I used it for Mars. I don't think I did it with Hummingbird or Flamingo. But yeah, it does feel like, ooh, I pulled this out for a die-along. I just really enjoy it. And I like that it's sort of like immediate, like already there black speckles. I just really, like, I love this vase. And actually, I think Friday's, what's today, Wednesday? I think Friday's video features this vase. It's absolutely a favorite of mine. It's just so unique. Like, I also got so excited when I first found the marled sock yarn that Dyer Supplier has. Because that, now both plies are a bit deeper. So one of them is more of a charcoal gray and one is a medium gray. And so that's a lot of fun to dye. But the zebra base with this variegated ply is just so cool. It's so cool and fun. And so, yeah, I still have a few more skeins of it, and then I'll probably buy more because I really like it. Wait, what froze? Oh, the color. End of summer with fall and Halloween colors. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think part of me is like, okay, so like as soon as I get through Hanukkah, then I can breathe and relax. And I keep trying to figure out, like, when does it feel easy? Because then I'm thinking about summer and this and this and this. And I think the time when the fall always feels hectic because, and I got a later start this year with filming Hanukkah, but I try in August, ideally, is when I would dye out Hanukkah. And then, you know, and then work through that. But with Lucas's birthday at the beginning of October, that just like, and then Halloween. And so then, you know, start of school, Lucas's birthday, Halloween, and then like, you know, like family stuff for holidays. It's just a lot because Lucas's birthday sort of kicks off birthday season because he's in October. I'm in December, but I'm like right next to Hanukkah usually, so there's that. And oh, there's also Thanksgiving. And then right after New Year's, it's my mom, and then Ryder, and then Keith and my dad have the same birthday, and so it's just a lot. It's a lot. I typically take a big, deep breath after Keith's birthday, because then, like, there's Valentine's Day. You feel like it's almost a gimmick. I mean, it is a little bit a gimmick, but I really enjoy it. Shoot. That's what I wanted. There's definitely some gimmick to it. I will, yeah, so the black, not a ton, but it has, oh, and I'm going to help it now sort of spread. I will say that this I can see the black stand out. I promise I won't use it every time. I have no idea what I'm going to do for November's Dye Along. But this time, okay, 7 minutes in, you can see what these colors are doing. And I will go ahead and add some more acid. But, you know, this base just takes more time. More time, more acid. I haven't ever tried scouring it, so I don't know about that, but let's set a timer. I'm going to heat this for 20 more minutes, then I'm going to turn off the heat and let it cool off. But yes, I think it's fair to say it's a gimmick. But so I was thinking about what I had pre-soaked, because I threw the zebra in last minute, because I was like, Halloween, it's like kind of perfect. But I also did have some Swish DK pre-soaked as well. And so I was like just debating what I wanted to do. And something about it just, it's like, it always makes me smile. And the way that yarn with Lurex, because the like sparkle is its own little ply, it has this reverse speckled feel to it, and that silver is so bright against a dark color. It also just makes me like, it makes me so happy, you know? Let's see. Why listen to our bodies? They just tell us all we need to know. Woohoo! Watermelon socks! You want to see it knit up on your quick machine, the zebra? Yeah, I'm really curious how it'll knit up. Now, I've done this kind of like softer colorway. I do this a lot with the zebra because I feel like it just works pretty well. But what I do in tomorrow's video is different. It's not like such long sections of color. Maybe you'll pull out your zebra. You've not dyed with it yet. You'd superwash. I don't know if I've dyed the superwash zebra yet. But yeah, I believe, so the Peruvian Highland wool, the non-superwash one, is at least in fingering and worsted. And then I think there's 100% superwash merino versions. And then there's like the, I forget if it's 75-25 or 80-20 superwash merino nylon ones. I have some of the superwash. I just haven't ever used it. Ooh, I really want to speckle it. Oh, that would be so fun! Oh. No, I like shade. It's Halloween. Shade is perfect. No, I really appreciate you all challenging me, and even I know like when it's like teasing and stuff. I enjoy being challenged when it comes to playing with color and yarn, because I feel like in the 4 years that I have been doing Dye Pot Weekly, I think that like the first episode I think it was my first time I tried to speckle with dry Kool-Aid powder, which, to be fair, I had speckled with it using like a fork to dip in, so I had done that. But that was the first time I took the powder and I put it in like a shaker and I tried to shake it on to get speckles that way. And like my speckle game has improved. And I've learned so much in some of those early videos, looking at superwash yarn versus non-superwash yarn and seeing like, wow, things really do strike faster to superwash yarn. And now that's something that you can learn by like me telling you or someone else telling you. But sometimes doing those side-by-sides for yourself can really start to help you get a feel for the tools that you have at your disposal, which then makes it easier to create the kinds of colorways you want. Like, I know with this yarn the colors are going to spread. And so knowing that allows me to take advantage of it to, you know, since the color is not all going to strike probably in 20 minutes. It'll strike by morning when I turn off the heat and let it cool completely over that long time span. But knowing that that works well with this particular yarn base means I know, okay, that's the last yarn I want to do of the day, not the first. So hello. Yeah, so I think that that's all just fun, and I, you know, here's a little plea. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please make sure you're subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel. We are closing in on 50,000 subscribers, which is halfway to my like huge reach goal of hitting 100,000. When you hit 100,000 subscribers, you get like a little, like you get a nice little like plaque from YouTube. And so someday I'd love to hit that. But for now, we are like really, really close. Like, we are 493 subscribers away from hitting 50K. Ooh. Okay, so I'm in my dyeing grid. When you repeat that for yourself. Yes. Awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that some of the things I like share can be helpful for when you're playing with your own colors and seeing how things work when you do it yourselves. As I wiggle too much for my camera. Okay, Divergent Crafter. What would you suggest someone get to start dyeing yarn just to see if they like it? Excellent question. If you want to just see if you enjoy the process of dyeing yarn, I recommend getting some food coloring vinegar and like a superwash wool yarn. And that combination, there are so many techniques that you can do, from dip dyeing, kettle dyeing, hand painting on the countertop followed by steaming. And if everything you're using is like food-based ingredients, then I'm personally comfortable using cooking pots and pans with food coloring. Now today I'm using commercial acid dyes, so all of the tools and everything I'm using are dedicated for dyeing yarn and aren't used for food. And since I like my dyeing equipment, sometimes I will use my, I know I have some dedicated food coloring that's only used for ChemKnit stuff now. Sometimes I'll use that on these dedicated equipment, but anything that has been touched by like a dye measuring spoon or anything like that, I then never use with like kitchen pots and pans and stuff. But anyway, if you start with food coloring, you can see if you enjoy the process before going out and getting a dedicated dye pan and spoons and utensils, which you don't need a lot of equipment, and a lot of it you can really easily find at a secondhand store, because you know, you can use an old stainless steel pot or a lobster pot or something. That was a weird flash that I saw on my screen. Yeah, so all that can work really, really well. And so, yeah, I think that I would recommend starting with food coloring. That's how I got started. And then, like, I launched Dye Pot Weekly because, you know, people were asking me about commercial dyes, and I was nervous, and I knew that there would be more setup to get more equipment. And I was like, if I do a Kickstarter, then I don't have the excuse of the equipment feeling like it was a limiting factor to get the equipment and to try. And so that gave me the startup funds to invest in some equipment and to get a wider range of dyes than otherwise I might have done starting out. And so, yeah, and the rest is history. Well, not history, it's still my journey, and I'm still learning. So, Carol, I'm a part of your life now. You're always waiting for Tuesday and Friday. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, it's, you know, like the comments that people would leave, and like I would randomly, before Dye Pot Weekly, I would randomly do like another yarn dyeing video, and people would get so excited. And realizing that people were so excited for another video because I wasn't posting regularly before that inspired me to like think like, well, what if I make this like a series and really try to post regularly? And at the time, I thought it was gonna be once a week. and then I realized, I'm like, oh no, I can do twice a week. So we'll see. Like, I have only, there's, I think, been one day I've missed one of my Tuesday, Friday uploads that I can think of these 4 years. There is a chance that I might take, I don't think I need a break. I'm not like, see, I usually like have so many things in progress that it's not really a problem. If the schedule starts to feel like a problem because I am trying to go a little bit slower than I have at other times in the past. But at the same time, because the kids are in school 5 days a week, I feel like I have more time again. So that helps. But there's a chance that, say, during Hanukkah, when the Hanukkah special this year is going to be 8, 9 videos, 10, 11, 12 videos, including a vlog, the 2 bonus colorways, night 9, which is the 20-gram mini for the samplers, and then the 8 nights. There's a chance that I might not do the regular Die Pout Weekly. If I'm gonna give myself permission if I need to skip that, especially because Hanukkah starts right after Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I'm trying to be gentle on myself, but I truly I love dyeing yarn, and so sometimes I get questions about my schedule, and lately I haven't been filming very much, but I've been editing a lot, and I still have other things, I have things that for one reason or another I have, but I haven't edited into a video, and I'm starting to go back and try to look at some of those again, because I'm curious what you all will think when you see the yarn I dyed to go with this. I mean, part of it is there feels like there's parts of the video that are missing because there's parts of it that I just didn't explain. I feel like, but it's also just funny watching footage that I dyed that is that old now and thinking about how I've changed in front of the camera and behind the camera, and how much more comfortable I feel, and how much more organized some of my filming feels, and things like that. And so it's just fun. I enjoy getting to be passionate about something like dyeing yarn, and to be able to share my failures, to share the things that work and don't work, and just really share that process, which takes pressure off, because at one point I thought, oh, I should only do something if I know how it's going to turn out and to make it a good tutorial. For example, when I was doing Dive Into Dyeing, those videos were the only time I've ever had something that maybe had a mistake that I then went and redid. Because for that, where it's a shorter tutorial, I didn't want there to be as much guesswork to it, if that makes sense. And so, there's a video where I was doing a variegated and speckled yarn, and I think I picked chartreuse and Kelly green from Jacquard to use on one yarn, because looking at the colors on the side, I thought that they were going to be really, really different. And you know what? Those colors are darn near identical. They are so close to one another that I could not really tell the difference between them on the yarn. And that made me feel like, okay, this, the yarn is still pretty, and it's a video that I will likely edit and share here on the channel at some point, even though that footage is a couple of years old. I went ahead and redid it, and I picked a few different colors to use for that, because I thought it was a better example of what I was trying to share, and there was less of a, this didn't work out as I expected, which I enjoy sharing for Dye Pot Weekly, but for all the stuff I made for Knit Crate and Dyer Supplier, I really wanted those videos to feel more complete. And I did a cake dyeing video, and I think on the first one I did, the middle popped out in the pot, which was just a whoops, and so I have that I need to edit at some point, and I'd be happy to share. It's just they've been sitting because I need to do new introductions and things like that. So I have no idea what status is of that unused footage, but I will share it in some capacity at some point. It's fun to like go back and look at stuff. So, I have a lot of fun. But I think I have no idea how much time is on the timer. It's looking really pretty on the stove. You like how some of the colors move to the middle? It's so soft. Yes, that's what I really like about. And actually, I do want to reduce the heat. That's what I really enjoy about this base, is that we started with just color here and here, and it really is converging. I have no idea how far that'll move. No idea how far at all. But I just know that it is, that it's pretty and it's fun. And, oh man, I don't want to clean up. So that's the other conversation we have a lot at home is like how I can make some of the setup easier. Like, I think my husband's dreaming of me having a studio as well. Certainly, like, I can't afford to rent anything, and there are big conveniences from to have me working from home. It means that, like, I can be available in the middle of the day if something comes up with the kids. And so there's like a flexibility that it gives me that if I had to go to another location to film, I'd have to work my schedule out a lot different. But I think it's funny, at the end of our island we have like a butcher block. I think I might try to move the computer over there, even though the backdrop will be like our keys and the dog bowl or something. That would be the back, what's behind me. But then I'm like, I could sit in a chair. And so I think that might work, and that the cables will all still fit and be able to reach. And so I might try that. Or I might do like a test live stream at some point. And I still plan to do a math-based live stream. I think now that I have almost all of Hanukkah, I have to do another wave, but I have almost all of the pre-orders shipped. There's like a handful that I need to do that hopefully I'll get out this weekend. And so then I plan to have some random live streams because I want to play around with that. You have to go now? Oh, thank you so much for joining. And Fiber by Nature, don't worry about forgetting about today because it was originally supposed to be yesterday and then I moved it. So I moved it last minute when right before I was like, I am really, really tired. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to like enjoy myself. And I was like, you know what? I should postpone it. And I'm glad I did because I had a ton of fun tonight. Dip those edge yarns in the dye, just your suggestion. Ooh, that could be fun. I'm probably going to leave it, but yeah. Like, when I tried the pregnancy reveal, and I was like, oh, okay. So with neither of the kids, I didn't do a a big deal over oh, am I having what will be assigned a boy or a girl at birth. But I was like, oh, here's a fun idea for. It was with Lucas. I was like, okay, I am going to soak yarn in some pink dye and some blue dye. And then when we find out, I'm going to add vinegar to one, heat set both, and then bam, they'll wash them and the dye will come out of one and not the other. Well, I did that, and then I ended up with blue yarn and pink yarn. And I was like, wait, what? And this is when I learned that red number 3, the pink that I used, because I was using food coloring, does not need very much acid at all to strike to yarn. And that's when I made the discovery. And that was a whole, well, this didn't work how I thought. Yeah. So I thought that this was I was like, oh, this is so cute and so me. And I don't think I even, yeah, so I think if when I shared, I think I cheated and used some bare yarn next to the blue yarn or something. I don't even remember what we shared. on Facebook. With Ryder, when I was pregnant with Ryder, we just filmed like Lucas a video saying that that mommy has a baby baba. And yeah, so that's all I did there. Have you ever tried dyeing tweed? Does it dye differently? Great question, and there's actually a very, very recent video with that. Hold on. ChemKnits tutorials. Okay. Let's make sure my volume is off. All right, so if I go here, Stroll versus White Nets, Die Cut Weekly, 321. That was, oops, that video. In that video, I had a tweed yarn with white neps compared to Stroll. Okay, there's still some black. The orange has absorbed. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn off the heat. And the water is warm. It's going to take a long time for this to cool in here, which is fine because it just means that we're going to be applying more heat. And so even though like the burners aren't on, the yarn is going to continue to be heated for however long, right? And so then that'll work and help the rest of those colors absorb, and then I can wash it in the morning because yeah, I like being able to leave some things till the morning when I do evening streams. But I do have to try to clean up the counter because the kids will need to have a breakfast, etc. But yeah, this that video 321 is a Donegal yarn, and then also videos. Why can't I? Aha. Is it because? There we go. The search. That's not a tweed yarn. Here we go. Oh no, that's a sale, but I did have that tweed yarn. Okay, here, that live stream had some tweed. Yeah, I think I had some tweed yarn in some of the dialogues. There was a fox one, I think I used a tweed. I guess some, maybe more live streams than pre-filmed videos. So, I think that, yeah, I tend, even though I keep going for a zebra, in the dialogues, I often will go for like a new to me yarn base because it just feels convenient and fun. And sometimes there'll be one that I feel like, ooh, this is rustic. This really fits this theme or vision and stuff. So which reminds me, if you have any suggestions of the type of inspiration photo I should look for, like I went for jack-o'-lanterns this time, last month was lightning, any themes like that, feel free to leave requests down in the comment section if you're watching the replay, or in the chat if you're watching right now. I have a private Pinterest board filled with inspiration photos, but yeah, when people suggest things, often I will look and see what I can find. So let's see. Because my tap water runs acidic. Oh yes, well, I was in a different apartment then. I was in a different state. So I'm not sure if my water there ran acidic as well. It's just red number 3 needs like no acid. It just stains like that. Your dye sink is so full of dishes. Oh, I would love a sink just for dye. We don't even have I don't have a laundry sink or anything. Our washer and dryer are in like a nice little closet. So I use one of the sinks in the master bath for like soaking laundry and stuff. Fun fact! I'm using Dharma today, yes. I considered actually using the Paradise Fibers orange and black, but what I found from a video that I'm not sure when it'll be out. It'll be out sometime this year, I'm sure. I found that the Paradise Fibers dyes do take longer to absorb, which is very interesting and very, very cool, because you saw how fast some of the colors struck to that stroll. You can kind of mitigate it a bit by having less acid present if you want the colors to spread further, but sometimes they strike just really, really, really fast. And so I'm moving too much again. I wiggle and I get excited. So I typically I pull pictures from a couple different, open, what's the word? My brain is not working. Like I go, like free stock images and stuff are usually the kinds of sites where I go. Because there's permission for to use the photographs and stuff. And so occasionally I might pull something from somewhere else, but I try to stay away from licensed characters, as much fun as it would be. I mean, maybe I'll have to do something like that. Maybe I should do something like that soon. Should do just a Marvel thing. Show my ooh. I should do Jurassic Park. I should do a line that is inspired by different dinosaurs based on different cartoons and things like that. Ooh. Cause I could do Dr. Sattler yarn and Ian Malcolm yarn would just be black. It would just be a solid black yarn. Oh man. Oh man. Oh. Yeah, I was trying to think ooh, what would I have that I haven't seen someone do yet? I'm sure someone's done it. I'm sure someone has done it. But yeah, maybe I'll have to do that. I'm a little excited. Oh, architecture is something that I should try. Because occasionally I'll have something landscapey, but a lot of times I go for animals and stuff and things in nature. But yeah, cityscapes and stuff, there could be some really, really cool things. I'm ChemKnits on Pinterest. My dye-along. So my board of inspiration photos is private, but yeah, oh funny. There's some things on my Pinterest board that are just, okay, now I have to pull this up. I mean oh my gosh, this was so fun. This was so fun. Things I used to do. Oh, this I loved. For a baby shower for one of my best friends, I took Beatles sheet music and made flowers. But yeah, I loved making that Halloween costume for Lucas. I mean, this is just showing all the things from my own website that are shared. Oh, funny. But look, he's crying with the cake. And I made this lion thing for Indy. Yeah, so because I used to publish a lot more stuff on my blog back before, oh my gosh. This is one of the last pictures before my first camera died. I used to share a lot more stuff there. But yeah, so those are things I've created. But wait, I have 1 million monthly views on Pinterest. Okay. Unsplash is a place I get a lot of photos from. I'm like, what? Because like most of the stuff I use on Pinterest are private boards. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm gonna head out because I am exhausted. This is one of the problems with trying to do evening streams. I do daytime streams a lot, but I try to do the dialogues like in the evening, at least US time, because then there's a chance that people on the West Coast, like by the end, might be off work, but it's hard because I like am much more of a morning person than an evening person. And lately, the last like few months, I've been kind of more of my bedtime is like 8 o'clock. So I'm a little tired, but and I am blurry, and it's not me being tired. That is this camera, which otherwise I really like. It just maybe there's a way if I like actually install it, then I can like tell it to like, hey, track this spot, the center of the camera, and just focus on that. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys could come. Well, Stacey, just go ahead and leave like ideas and like themes like in the comments of the videos. That's the easiest thing for then like I can go and like search for pictures that I when I'm looking like for a theme, sometimes I try to like sometimes when I start thinking about a theme, then like, oh, so like with jack-o'-lanterns, I'm like, okay, I wanted something that was like, it lit up, and I wanted something that, like, I was looking for something with the colors a little bit different from just like me taking a picture of a pumpkin on my doorstep, which I've done. So, you know, I just, yeah, that's probably the easiest way. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. Please don't forget to go and check out the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop. In addition to like a lot of beautiful hand-dyed yarn featured in these live streams and my videos, there's still some more Hanukkah samplers because I made a lot more this year. So that way they would be able to be stocked a little bit longer to give more people a chance to join. And so it's just a very fun way to help support the channel. But again, subscribing, liking, commenting on the videos is the biggest way, the biggest way to help support the content here. And yeah, as I said, we are approaching 50,000 subscribers. And so yeah, if you're not subscribed already, you could help us get there. So anyway, oh right, and if you want to participate in the dialogue and have your yarn featured in the recap, that'll come out in mid-November. Share your yarn inspired by this photo on Instagram using the hashtag ChemKnitsDialogue, or look for this photo on the ChemKnits Facebook page and reply with a photo comment. In general, I prefer that you share just like single images versus collages or something like that because it's easier for me to incorporate them into the video. So yeah, and I don't mind if you share multiple pictures of the same project. Usually I only pick like 2 or 3. But yeah, I enjoy seeing all the pictures and it's fun to pull. And in terms of deadline, the deadline is when I finish editing the video and start exporting. But in general, I would say the earliest I ever start pulling pictures would be about the 12th of the month. And the latest is usually like maybe the 18th. So, yeah, you can always like try to ping me on social media and see like if I know when I'm gonna like finish up the recap. Usually what I do is I will, as soon as this yarn is dry, I will film the recap and then edit that, leaving space for me to insert the pictures of the yarn that all of you dyed, and then wait a few weeks to then do that and export it. So that way I edit it while it's mostly fresh in my mind. So that's what I try to do. But anyway, I'm going to go clean up and go to bed. But today is Wednesday. But yeah, there will be a new, well actually there might be a new video out tomorrow. It's not a secret. ChemKnits patrons. Oh, I do have Patreon. I will be sharing the Patreon newsletter with the new episode of Dipop PS on Patreon tomorrow, which means that last month's episode of Dipop PS will be out publicly on YouTube for everyone to see, and that's a fun one. So yeah, there will be a new video at, I don't know, some point tomorrow morning. That's the plan, at least. So anyway, good night, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching. Bye!